Good morning, friends and subscribers. This is Prepper Princess. Today I want to talk to you about how poor I used to be, and I know a lot of people are in the same position. If you are interested, I do personalized videos on Patreon. You can visit the website patreon.com /Prepper Princess. And please also visit prepperprincess.com for all your prepping needs. So when I was a kid, my mother was a single mother, no child support, very low wage job in California. And I believe that she did go to food banks, but she never told us. So the food that we got, sometimes we would get some pretty messed up food. I think this was before regulations took place at food banks, and we got some pretty messed up food sometimes. She would oftentimes put a lot of things into a pot and make like a goulash, mostly tomatoes. And it was kind of tough to eat. There was a lot of spaghetti growing up. But I do recall that during the winter times, the heat could not be turned on. We really didn't have any insulation in this house. The insulation I put in when she passed away about 10 years ago. But before that, we had no insulation. We had single pane windows. And people think of California as sunny California, but it gets below freezing here. I think that the sunny California part might just be the Los Angeles area, and I'm much further up north. And in the wintertime, you would breathe, and the fog or the smoke or whatever would come out of your mouth. I do remember being cold all the time in the winter. We never had an air conditioner, so it was really hot in the summertime too. We didn't have any ceiling fans at that time. We have them now. So we had those big box fans that you would put in your window, and it gave the illusion that you were cooling off, but really you weren't. There used to be a creek. The creek has been dry for years, but there used to be a creek running through, and we would oftentimes go to the creek to cool down. Food was not a huge issue, but Mom would go food shopping on paydays, but it seemed like when we were getting close to payday, we were out of food. And I remember as a kid one time there was an onion and a tomato in the fridge along with like condiments like mustard and stuff like that. And I had to make a choice because I was so hungry, my stomach was hurting, and I ate the tomato. And some people love eating tomatoes plain. I personally do not like tomatoes at all, but I was really hungry. A lot of times I would go to friends' houses for dinner. I didn't want to say I'm hungry, but I would go hang out with people and go to their dinners for food. I did have to, mom never set us up for like the free lunch program at work, but there were several times where I had to go up to the counter and say I was hungry, and they would give me a free peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And that's pretty much all you get. And they were always stale. They were always stale PB&Js. And we never really did any vacations or activities. I think that the last time we went camping, I was like 5 years old, and I remember it because it was the last time I went camping, and I don't think I ever wanted to go again. We got caught in a rainstorm, and we were soaking wet and freezing cold, and it was horrible. We didn't have barbecues. We didn't have people over very often, mostly because we didn't have the money to buy extra food for the people coming over. Christmas and birthdays, there was always something under the tree. Mom always found a way. Whether it was expensive or cheap, I think she did a lot of thrift store shopping, but it didn't take away from the value of the gift. So we did that a lot. And as kids, you're not really expected to give gifts, but I do recall one time seeing my mother crying over the bills. She was paying bills, and that's when I was 10 years old, and I decided to get a paper route so that she wouldn't have to spend as much money on me, and whenever I was hungry, I could get my own food. So I started a paper route at age 10 to because my mother was having such a difficult time, and she didn't know that's why I started, of course, but that's why I started. Clothes growing up, those were kind of tough. Like, we were stupid kids, and we didn't do the thrift store type stuff, but she could only afford like 2 shirts and 2 pairs of pants for us. And looking back, I wish I would have been like, it's okay, Mom, I'll just use what I have, or it's okay, Mom, you know, we'll just go to the thrift store, I'm fine. You know, I wish I would have done that back then. It would have made things a lot easier for her and a lot easier for us, but I didn't. I was the spoiled California teenage girl, and I always had to have new clothes, and they weren't even nice clothes, but anyway, she always somehow found a way, but I know that it was really hard for her. So the heat and the cold and the food were generally pretty much, you know, where it was at. We didn't go anywhere. We didn't do anything. But I have heard different stories of people who like lived in a mobile home, and like there were holes in the walls, and you know, rats and rodents and everything else. So even though we were poor, we were very content and very happy. And I want to know about you guys, you know, what was your most poor moment? I also remember in my early 20s, when I was living on my own and getting out of debt, and I absolutely refused to spend money. I, at one point, had $17 to last me 2 weeks, but that included gas in my car, and I had a huge long commute. And I pretty much survived on leftovers from potlucks and coffee in the break room, and that's pretty much all I had to last me that almost 2 weeks until the next payday. And all of that money went, all $17 went to gas, and I think I was on fumes by the time I got to payday. Anyway, let me know what you guys had going on in the comments section below. You were so poor that, and then, you know, fill in the blank here, because I'm really interested to know, you know, people, or if you were poor and you did not have any hardship, you know, the heat was always on, your clothes, you always had clothes on your back, your belly was always full, but you were dirt poor. I would really like to know, and if that's the case, please provide any tips or tricks that you have in the comments section below. Don't forget, I'm on Patreon and prepperprincess.com. Do what you can with what you've got. Prepper Princess out. In your mouth. What you got in your mouth, mister? Is that my slipper? Is that my slipper? What you got there? Is that my slipper? Did Mister steal my slipper? Oh, what's that face? Mr. Guilty Face. Oh, Mr. Guilty Face. I love you.